Okay, we're starting now, and I have here two references, this one and this one. Definitely, instead of going and squinting all the time, we can start exactly with this reference. It doesn't distract us with the sharp edges, so values can be perceived more accurately. So we have definitely here the light part, okay, so which is sky, water, and of course the sail. And when we talk about water, it's all a reflection of the sky above it, with getting slightly darker to the bottom. And we have here rocks, which are dark, even though some of them, those which are above tide line, tide level, they are dry. It's a pink granite, some mooring as well. But definitely lights and darks, two things. And among lights, we have a lot of cool colors, and they seem to be slightly darker than those few spots of light colors, so which is sail, definitely, and a few clouds in the sky. And it looks like this cloud as well is light enough. Don't get into the trap when you think that this cloud here on this level is reflection of cloud here, which is not. The rule of reflection tells you that these clouds will be reflected somewhere here, and what we have like on this level, it's something beyond our view, and that cloud must be very light, because reflection is like in 99% is darker than the object itself. The only problem happens when we have ripples, and we see that quite often in the ocean. That is why, so those that area which reflects not the sky above it, but everything, sky above it, this and this and this and this. So, and that is why this part of the water looks lighter. If water was still, you would see that these clouds, purple ones, get reflected here, and they're not lighter in reflection than they are in the sky. All right, enough theory. So what I want to start with, those few warm spots, and I'm trying to define values. So using my bristle brush, now the huge one, it's I think number 6, and I will do mix, small amount of white, don't want to load, and I will add some orange. Remember, we're testing 1980 paints. Okay. I'm wiping my brush, trying to create it slightly lighter. It looks pretty dirty color in your, like in the video recording, but that's fine. If it's slightly darker, that's fine. We can always make it lighter if you want. Overall value of this toned canvas is pretty close to what we need for the sail. And we'll try to create a few more spots, and that's our reflection here. See, I'm going pretty thin. I know that I'll be applying more paint on top of it. So it's a pinkish. Is it right in value? It's hard to say because everything else around is yellow, and same value. It looks like to the bottom we're getting kind of like more purplish paint, but still like sunlit clouds. So kind of we broke the ice, kind of trying to get to understand what's going on with our values here rather than much with an accurate definition of our colors. All right. So why won't we do sky now? That's usually the rule. We do object first, and then we kind of get more focused on reflection to get values accurate, or whatever is happening with the water as ripples. Maybe that will tell us how lighter should be this area under the sky. All right. Very thin paint for now, and have those clouds above, and I want to make that paint already with my medium look light enough. And I will not be able to get that lightness just with transparency of the paint, because I work on toned canvas. Could I work on white canvas? Probably I could, but I want to show you a little shorter process which can be helpful when you're painting outside. So toned dry canvas of value. Okay, so why pink spread down? Because you could see there purple spreading down as well. Not exactly as working with the watercolors, but like with a thin gouache application. So now let's think about, before we get that kind of like turquoise sky, let's work on these purples down here. And I think overall, if we want to talk about the color, overall the value of the water is close to what we want. You know, a horizon line, I think I can elevate it to the same level. Why not? Everything seems to be a little bit down in my drawing. It's up to you. I'm sure we all have them slightly different. Of course, ultramarine, adding more of white. I don't want that sky to be too dark. And quite often it really makes sense if you do that mix separately, so to get cleaner color and then make it dirty, instead of trying to create a complex dirty mix and then trying to make it more colorful. So the truth is somewhere in between, right? As usually. It seems to be dark. We'll need to correct that. Maybe not, you know. Again, it's so tricky in the beginning to say, did you get color values accurate or not? There are many factors which affect our perception of the color and value. And also one of them is a camera, actually. When you do it on your own outside, that's much better way of working on it. With the first layer, it's a breeze. Like if you feel that you want to go thinner, just go with the paper. Oops. I got these things like this. Make it happen. Because of my palette, for you, made so close. Okay, we got that green, which is actually is not a big trouble, because we'll get, as many things in nature, composed from multiple bands of the light waves. All right. See, maybe it was happy accident, lucky accident. So now in values, I think we're better. And let me wipe my brush and get slightly more of turquoise here. Again, those who are subscribers know why we're going with this palette today. And why not try our cerulean blue? Maybe turquoise is too much, so let's go with cerulean blue. Wow, it looks so dark on a video. We're using negative shape, creating outline for our clouds. Let's leave it like this. Again, if you want to wipe up excess, of course it'll be more accurate not to touch the trying not to touch anything on our palette, which is right next to us. That's slightly better. Again, know those beautiful pinks. We can always get that with a thicker paint application later. But in values, we've got that, all that area. I'm satisfied with its result. So what we're doing with this part of water, let's say it's like background water. I think it reflects a lot because of ripples, the turquoise sky. So I can use same color. Now make it slightly dirtier. And there are some pink lines there. Shall I really be concerned about them? Probably not. Why would I? I'm raising my level of the water. And also let's define where our boat is sitting on. Don't really worry about that reflection. We still need to care slightly, at least slightly, about the geometry and all those perspectives. Because if our boat will be in the wrong place, as you see, and as explained in my prep video, I made it slightly bigger. How it's called? Artistic license. But anyway, if you are using artistic license, you need to be accurate with changes, because you kind of like create a little bit different story in geometry. Definitely, if we do MPD class with this video, we'll have we'll sketch. We'll do sketch first. We'll see how things work. And again, this is sort of simulation of quick, almost like impulsive idea of painting something and then starting working with not much spending time on sketching. This format of these free webinars does allow us, at least does allow me, to spend time, like spending a week to prepare this webinar. Still have to work and earn money. And I'm doing this webinar for you to raise interest in painting, in Russian School of Painting, and maybe you can study from me if that works for you. If it doesn't, of course, there are many other teachers which will be more than happy to teach you. All right, a thin paint application against this yellow looks very dark, but it's really not. Once we apply darks, you'll see how perception of these values will change. Again, if you want to make it smooth, you can take even like a fan brush. You can work with a piece of paper towel. And we're using vertical and horizontal brush strokes because waves are pretty much horizontal with little angle. But overall, all reflection rules, especially in calm water, they follow. They're really much bound to vertical lines. Also be accurate with a horizon, and it's not a bad idea to kind of check it maybe with, I don't know, even with a ruler. If you have a stretched canvas, you can put a little bit pins here on horizon and have a little kind of like a thread or whatever in between them, because that line will be straight, absolutely. All right, now we're getting to more exciting part, right? To these rocks. Let me check one more time if we're good with our water line here. I like to do it something like almost like a ladder, at least when it's distant, and then closer to me it goes and acquires some angles. Of course, all this line also has its own design. If you're good with feeling of design, it will definitely attract attention, so people will be looking at it with more interest, trying to, like, sometimes not even understanding why they want to look at it, just because it looks nice, it looks great, interesting. Of course, similar in shape, right? So this part, so we need to fight that. All right, now I'll take a brush, maybe, since I'm not going to work much with the sky, I will have one brush, number 6, spared, and one to do browns. So dark parts. In dark parts, which would include that mooring and tops of those rocks, even though they're light, let's say heavy part, I will work again starting with lights. And so what I'm going to use for those lights, they're warm, they're pretty much pinkish, right? Let's desaturate that, maybe even a small amount of raw sienna, and to get rid of that pinkish, if it's too bright, we can always add a grayish blue. So a couple of rocks here. And now we don't really need to go smooth. And each rock, it has its own character and kind of direction. There are no fibers, but definitely a direction of its crystals. If it's too red, again, adding blue and next layer is not a problem at all. We always can do that. And now let's add their small amount of gray. Don't want to really touch greens at this moment, so we'll be going with kind of with a bluish gray. And let's define top of that boat with thin layer, slightly different color. We'll add yellow ochre. And again, top of the boat, I will add there some lighter paint in next stages. All right, there are here and there some tops of some rocks. Right, and most likely I'll get rid of them soon enough. This paint will melt into other paints. Maybe it's a good time to start adding some greens, because red with greens will create indefinite color, close to brown, depending on how much of this or that component you'll place. There's definitely some blue shows up over there on top of these rocks. So our drawing is kind of disappearing, but once you sketch, you may have that feeling of flow, of design of rocks, position. I think in valleys we're quite accurate. And if I do start with a brown right now, there'll be no space for me to put cooler bluish brush strokes because brown is a big contaminant. It pulls the whole painting to browns unless you will work hard on top of it with removal, application of a thicker, rather say, paint layer. A little bit of green will appear because it's seaweed growing on these rocks or whatever is growing, and it has some yellowish color. I can start adding actually gel, because when I work with darks, this thin medium make like my darks lighter overall, because part of the paint I guess run into the canvas deep enough. I don't really want that. You see, I'm kind of separating different zones where the rocks are, showing that these are different rocks. Time to add brown. Oh, why not? We already covered a lot of different colors. Added colors to these areas of different rocks. Slightly softer. All right. But again, you see, I am really working on different zones differently. And somewhere you want to add yellow ochre. Yes, we'll get a more greenish color. You see how this all area started looking lighter than it was. Not that blue, no, but value-wise, more accurate, isn't it? People have been asking about giving more information, and I think now with speeding up all my recording process through these webinars, I should start recording a master painting demo when we have full in-depth classes with analysis of mixes and paints. And if this is a high quality HD recording, when it gets broadcasted, of course, quality drops. But on MPD class should be more information and in 4K, so I can really zoom in some part so you could see better my paint application. And again, I can slow it down even if I feel that it's really should be shown big time details. Shall I do that dark rock now or later? I think I should do it now. I can maybe separate them from the mainland slightly later. There is a reflection here as well. And I'm trying to make these rocks different. If one of them is like more horizontal, another one will be rather almost like a boxy square. So I have here boat. It's nothing wrong if you kind of oh, where's my boat? So how will I do that? You just grab your oil pastel, whatever you've been using to paint, and you can redefine it. Okay, so once oil pastel touch something which has medium, it's get dried and turns to be like almost to oil paint. So I will do this boat right next to this mooring. That's how people got on the ground, and this is my bottom of this wood mooring. Don't worry about those sticks. I can do it now, but I'd rather leave it. You know, if I want specifically those posts, like the most left one, I can always add them like after a painting is dry. Shall I really consider that that part should be slightly cooler and lighter? You know, even though on reference I don't see that, but why not? We want to add more depth in photograph, we believe. The picture artist needs to prove it using rules of perspective, that this is far, this is closer. We cannot really rely much on presentation. Quite often as artists, we go to more abstract presentation. We just give hints of the shapes. At the same time, we need to give more hints about perspective. All right, so now this all area looks rough. Even like these rocks, like here, may need to be slightly reshaped or maybe less emphasized. All right, we are almost done with our first layer. I just will do some connections between these rocks. You can work with the same brush, or you can take a smaller brush. I will take number 2, and you may just connect them, or you may throw there some extra color, because these rocks, they're patchy, but they don't have those very light spots as I have on my drawing. So let me just maybe give the idea that there is some like more of a seaweed. And paint now is very movable. So I can wipe it off. It's a very thin layer. If you feel that some shape of the rock is very strange, you can reshape it. Okay, we have here this spot which doesn't seem to be cool. Kind of this division to even parts slightly start bothering me. There are many rocks here. There's another rock here. There's another rock here. Shall I do them all right now? I don't think so. Even those seaweeds which I have on top, it's not now time to go. This is kind of detail level. I think right now we need to do a quick break, so you can really free your mind from this picture. And while you're taking a break, you can observe how I will be correcting my drawing of rocks. So I'll take again my oil pastel. Actually, for this drawing, for this painting, kind of like a darker oil pastel could work better. You probably cannot see it again. This is not a 4K recording. You cannot zoom in. So what you can do now and go over these shapes, maybe with a just smaller synthetic softer brush. What color shall I use? So deeper shadows, like you can see, let's say here, you see these rocks on the bottom, like in this area, they're brownish. And there is some green present there too. So don't think that it's all should be purple there. No, purple's here actually on top of. So for you to break, I'm taking burnt sienna, and as an additional color, I'll mix purple, which seems to be slightly darker than my burnt sienna. Okay, and with very light touches, I will define extra shadows here. Of course, it's a good idea to use medium, not too much, so otherwise it will make your paint too thin. You won't be able to see much. And I'm grabbing paint from different parts. If you had your sketch of rocks on paper, that would survive all this stage, right? So your sketch on paper could give you some guidance what idea of design you came up with. If anything happened after drawing on canvas, came out as good design, make a sketch from your drawing here, or explore again the photograph. So there are many different ways of not losing your good design which you found, or to fix design, make all these decisions in advance and work only on colors and values. It's enough big task. So why would you kind of like make things even more complicated when they're complicated enough already? Sorry for my voice, with a feeling of crack in it. I'm not sick, but it's not easy to talk and paint at the same time. Again, excuse me, this is, yes, I'm still translating from one language to another in my head. So it takes capacity of my rapid access memory, as people who work with computer know that performance depends on amount of free rapid access memory availability. So I have some sort of direction for these rocks. So because they all came here from different areas, some of them are like brothers, have same color and same texture. Some of them been brought here during the ice age, sliding maybe from 100 miles from this spot, and they've been moved by the ocean. And then maybe some of them been placed by human here because they dumped here something, or tried to create protection against stronger walls, so like wave breakers. So story of many of these rocks, stories are different. Feels like towards this part, all those shadows are rather brownish, and all those rocks look kind of darker and not just brownish. There is some green. So squinting, even when you paint from blurry photograph, squinting could be a good tool when you look at your own painting. because all this texture of our brush strokes could be a big distractor. And at times we'll start loving them, like, oh, this is so cool, I want to leave it like this. I'd rather tell you, try to later maybe use this division and this texture, but still cover it with a thicker paint application, because of over time, thinner paint. I mean, when you'll be painting bigger painting, you most likely not gonna do it all like that. If you like thin paint application, watercolor maybe is your medium, and there you can use all beauty of thin paint. But if you're acrylic, gouache, and of course oil painter, especially oil painter, you need to consider thicker layers. I love that division, and that's why I love painting stone walls as well. So let's get close to our boat. You know, out of many similar colors, only cooler green is not there. So especially I think the top of the boat get some cooler green on it. So why we want to distinguish our boat sides from these rocks with straighter lines. Especially we can see top of the boat well, and with a slightly shifted color. So I'm going to work with greens. And it also creates some sort of like a contrast for this rock on top of this pile. All right. We can also kind of redefine, yeah, this, I don't know, with a smaller brush. We need to redefine that drawing. I didn't really like it. Goes like a tail of a mouse into water. So I'd rather have a little bit more definite edge of this, those rocks with that rock pile. Okay, this mooring. Again, I really don't worry about these posts. They will be interfering. If I put paint there, if I'll be more accurate with the background, which is relatively flat, maybe working with a few lines with my oil pastel could be helpful, but I'll try to apply thicker paint on top of the white, which is usually difficult. So quite often we do that after paint got dry. And let's define also top of the mooring. You see, we're kind of like almost smoothly transitioning from first layer to second layer, working with a softer brush, because the whole cover, whole surface of canvas has been covered with paint. And I think we have here broader rocks in the front. And it's not clear what's happening here. If I kind of jump into my thicker paint application immediately without stopping, without thinking what I'm doing and where I am, are there any questions not answered, I may find out too late. Wow, I applied paint and I really don't know what to do with these shapes. So I should remove paint or I should add more paint. But the issue is usually, where's your drawing? What do you want to show here in shapes? We're working in realistic manner, style. So shapes are very important, right? I won't say the only essential thing, but one of foundations of our representative way of telling story. All right, not quite easy to define things here, but the question could be, shall I go with this angle or with that angle? Both of them are good. The question is what's happening on the one of the corners, like this. Maybe then I can go and do it like that. All right. Before I start next layer, let me also do more definition for that boat, because it has a like boat part and a sail part. Before I clean my palette, I can take a clean brush, or work with this one after nice cleaning and washing. So shall I go there with the pinks only? You know, it's not only pink. If you just go there with the reds and browns and orange, that's first layer it's fine, but then later you'll realize that there are more paints. Definitely some green there, maybe a small amount of blue even there. So barely applying any paint of this layer to dry fast enough. And again, different parts. Let's say for a sail, maybe I'll add more of orange at this time, as I said. Shall my boats shall be a little bit higher? I think it's not a bad idea. I made it bigger. It means it should be closer to us. At the same time, maybe it's way too close. See, I'm kind of drawing. Keep drawing. Right. And this reflection of the sail, it looks quite dark. It's not anything red and shining. And to make a dirtier, darker color, usually not a problem. So I'll make it that almost raw sienna, reddish sienna. Not burnt one, obviously. That type of thing. One of the challenges here, because we have here reflection ripples, then kind of disappears, and then somewhere here shows up. Don't really worry about that, okay? So we'll treat all these as zones, like separately. Kind of there's ripples, like less ripples. You see pink reflection, and then more ripple, and then it's kind of fading and almost disappearing somewhere at the entrance of this cove on this level. If it's a little challenging to see them, you can, or it's easy to forget, with a very thin paint, you can show for yourself where one zone will be ending. Let's say still water, ripples, and then again somewhere like on this level we have ripples continued up to here, and then again quiet zone with a more of a reflection. Of what's just above it. then again ripple area. Then it ends somewhere here. Why it's quiet over there? Generally, it's quiet there because we have a wave breaker. Why won't we paint that wave breaker but not that long? One of the ways will be to extend it this way, or another way is to extend it from this way. Compositionally, I think it feels better if we have all S shape here, then the break wave will come from this side, crossing our sailboat, and it will be feeling like this sailboat is just coming from the ocean. So why not to do that? And I'm using some sort of purple, warmer purple color here. And I'm kind of, it feels that we're standing quite high. I still want to put my horizon line slightly lower. Again, be accurate with horizontality. Check it with your, whatever, with a ruler, with a pencil. That line between 2 points, maybe even if it doesn't reach here, is straight, and distance from top to this point or from the bottom to this point are equal on both sides. It's kind of, let's make it fade like that. Looks like I don't want to have a break, right? Again, you don't really have to be at the screens at this moment or do exactly what I'm doing. Again, it's almost impossible that you do every step I'm doing here. Sometimes it's just worth watching and listening. I want to do a slight treatment of the edge. Why? I just want to add color because it kind of creates more softness, feeling of water and air, and there is always a humidity next to the ocean. So it makes even slightly distant objects looking softer than like under a different condition. Yeah, I don't really see well design now. Definitely need my brain to rest. So now I'll make quick break.